So one thing that I want to make sure that we do in this run is I want to make sure that every single run I give the disclaimer that I'm going to be doing this by the rules as I gleaned them from the current world record, which I believe starts with everything unlocked and just goes through every level sequentially. I watched it today. That is what I remember. I'm going to double check that before I post this to Reddit and speedrun.com, but that is my understanding. Should start the timer first. There we go. So ideally I would like to one-shot every level. Once we get to Titan Sky, that becomes unlikely, though that may have actually happened on the world record that I already got. So I already got a world record, but the sound quality was just really bad, and I was like not talking, and it was just really boring. And I was like, I want to upload something better than that, so let's see if we can beat it. But it was actually a pretty good run. But I know that there were mistakes, there were places I had to reset a couple times, and I don't know that I made optimal use of the movement system. So the basics of the movement system are, we have grinds, and we have landings, and then we have manuals, which I will probably not use very much because manuals slow you down. Perfect grinds give you a little burst of speed. Grinding in general slows you down. And so what I'm going to be trying to do, and what is going to be giving me a lot of my speed, is that I am going to be trying to do perfect grinds and perfect launches to get speed, and then I will immediately leave the grind in order to keep that speed instead of spending it all on the grind. Grinding downhill actually does help you build speed, so I will be taking downhill grinds as I am able to get them. Can never quite make that with a pulse. I'm not sure if it's possible or not, but I think it's a pretty small thing. And this is going pretty well so far. I feel like I'm making good time. Well, that was not very good. Whoa, that was really not good. Okay. That's fine, we can... I think that's probably the faster way to do it. Not going very fast, though. I would like more speed. But this is... Oh, okay, we're resetting. Alright. So, as I'm saying before all of these, this is going to be by the same rules that the current world record follows, where you start with everything as unlocked as you like, and you just go through the levels, play every single level in order, get through them as quickly as possible. So we will be taking advantage of the movement system. We have grinds. If we get a perfect grind, we get a little speed boost. Grinding slows you down, though, so we want to spend as little time grinding as possible while still getting those speed boosts from the perfect grinds. Perfect landings allow you to retain more of your speed. And sick landings are better than okay landings. Grinding downhill, sloppy landings are the worst. They actually make you lose a lot of speed. But we are just going to plug forward because I don't actually feel like resetting. And I don't think it's enough of a time loss to justify the reset. I'm actually finding that the stream window out of the corner of my eye is a little confusing, so hopefully that won't have an impact on the run. Let's see if I can not fall down this staircase. Also, I was wondering about the movie signs, if they're the same every time. There we go. So those were not good grinds. unfortunately. There we go. So the last two I remember looking at, and I don't remember exactly what they were. Let's see, Big Trouble in Little New Cross. I don't recognize that. So I think the movie titles are randomized from a pool, because I do see the same ones come up. Like The Day Your Mom Stood Still is the one that I find the most memorable. Okay. There we go. Take that properly. Take that properly. There we go. Very good. So this one, I remember being something about pigeons last time, I think, or... Okay, Toxic Mutant Hipster Kids, yeah. I'm really starting to think that they are randomized. It's something that I never really paid enough attention to notice until I started playing these levels over and over again, trying to get the any percent record. I think, is this level 4 or level 5? I can't actually, it's level 5, okay. 1-5. So this is where the first secret is. Hopefully we will have secret speed coming off of this. We did, but I don't want to actually take it. We want to stop. There we go, right under the Aztec sign. And that's a split. And we actually saved some time. Not much, but I think some of that was from splitting late last time, and I didn't exactly split early this time, so hard to say exactly where we are. But these levels, we're getting into where it's going to take a little more concentration. But so far we're getting the one shot. I mean, we're not really into the places where it really tests you. That's much later in the game. These are still levels that I can fairly reliably one-shot if I play them kind of in the simplest way possible, which is kind of why I was not interested in the any percent category for a long time, is just because you have to play in this very simple way. But as I kind of got more in-depth understanding of the movement system and kind of the movement tricks, it started to become more interesting. There's a lot of subtlety in what I'm doing, but I don't think a lot of that comes through. And I like the 100% because it's really flashy, and also because something I was actually talking about on the speedrun subreddit is that the 100% run is one of the runs where kind of, if you can fail fewer times than the world record run, you'll get world record. It's like so unoptimized and so difficult that speed tech, you know, it helps, but the number of times you reset a level and the number of challenges you fail to complete are really what is going to determine your time. And I find that really interesting. I've been watching Chameleia 3. I Want to Kill the Chameleia 3 is the full title of the game, but it's usually just referred to as Chameleia 3 or K3. It is an I Wanna Be the Guy fan game. And it's actually like several generations of fan game removed. It's because it's a medley of levels and bosses from other fan games, plus some new content. And it has the largest difference between a tool-assisted run and a human world record of any game I've ever seen. The human world record is 6 hours, down from 12 hours was the first record. And the TAS is like 1 hour and change. And so It's just a lot of that game is just, can you get past the bosses, you know, in fewer attempts, because the bosses are extraordinarily difficult. And there's basically... Oh, that's a split. Ooh, saved a second. And this is where I'm going to kind of have to start to get a little more concentrated. This is where the levels get more complicated and have kind of more gotchas. So this Chameleia 3 game is just, it's a really remarkable speed run to watch because it requires so much precision, so much endurance, and you have to react to these very fast, because there's a lot of randomness in a lot of the bosses. It also has my favorite boss in any game I've ever seen. It's the Dorupi boss. And there's kind of a running thing in I Want to Be the Guy fan games that you battle Hatsune Miku as the final boss of a lot of games. And so you fight her like 4 times in Chameleia 3. And the Dorupi boss is one of the times you fight her, and she's actually animated much better. Usually it's just a still picture for these boss fights, but the Dorupi boss has like full animation, really kind of characteristic, sort of a chibi version of her. And the song is Common World Domination, which is a song that I just really enjoy. And then all of the bullet patterns, or cherry patterns, I guess, because there's this whole like long-running debate about whether they are apples or cherries, but I think cherries is generally more accepted. And I believe we're getting close to... Oh, no, we're not. Thought we were getting close to a split, but we are not. There we go. There's still one more level after this one. And the bullet patterns are all in sync with the music, so it's just got this really beautiful effect that you don't see in very many boss fights of Hatsune Miku throwing these cherries at you, and you have to dodge them, and it's much more pattern based than a lot of them. Most of the bosses in Chameleia 3 have a lot of randomness, and the Dorupi boss has almost none. It's just a tiny bit of randomness, which I really like. A lot of people don't like that because they think it's kind of boring and rote. They like having to react to stuff. So it's kind of funny that I'm talking about a different game while speedrunning this one. This is actually one of the first levels that really gave me a huge challenge, and that was on the All Perfect Star. And my favorite levels in this game are always the ones that are like extraordinarily difficult for me. And so that often is just the all perfect challenges. Shoot. Okay, please make it good. Okay, not good. So here, I think I may have to actually stop talking. Please don't lose it here. Oh my god. Please don't lose it here. We have to grind this rail to not be going too fast here, because if you're going too fast, you land in that pile of garbage. Not going for teddy bear strats, because we don't need the teddy bears for any percent. Only need them for 100%. And any risk is a risk not worth taking when you're doing any percent. So this is a level I lost a lot of time on in the last time that I remember playing it. So we've lost the one-shot. That's too bad. I'm a little bit sad. But we one-shot, I think, through gunmetal. And then we had a little bit of dirt. And so we will have to make up for that. But Titan Sky, you can just... It's always like the gift that keeps on giving. There's always so much time to make up in Titan Sky because it's just so freaking hard. And that's kind of where I draw the comparison to Chameleia, is that sense of like, well, if you fail fewer times, you might get world record. Which, you know, most speedruns are like, oh, you have to play through the game normally and also do all these other things and take all these shortcuts, and in some games it's just don't die. And I mean, there's speed tech in this. I assume there's speed tech in Chameleia. I'm not really familiar enough with the game to be aware of a lot of that, but it seems like every game has something, some shortcuts, some tactics. I think this is my favorite level that doesn't involve an all-perfect achievement. That much, at least, I can say. Or no? Oh yeah, this is it. I really like the reverts that you have to do on this one. That's another thing that actually, one of my other favorite levels is one where you have to do revert manuals, which are another thing that I find very difficult. Don't need the teddy bears, not doing teddy bear strats. Teddy bear strats are a trap anyway. It might be possible to get the teddy bears and combo for the 100%, but it is so inconsistent that it is not worth it. So I believe this is the last carnival level. And I believe this one has some pretty cool teddy bear strats that I will not do, because that is risk. And any risk is bad risk when you're doing any percent. Or, you know, I could be thinking of a completely different level, and I am. So never mind on that. Whew! Alright, we are gaining time on my record. This is another one of my favorite levels, and one of the hardest all-perfects in Amateur. Well, I think it's one of two. Wow, okay. That's kind of the first hard jump to get. That's the main one. That's where most all-perfects die, is that one right there. And then the last one is pretty hard to get perfect, but I did it. But we are not going for 100%. This level is quite challenging. And this one is actually challenging in a way that I don't really like. This is one of my least favorite of the later levels, at the very least. One of the only levels that I kind of have some dislike for. Rather than, I'm pretty kind of just neutral and blah about the early levels. Kind of don't really care about them either way. But this one I actually kind of dislike a little bit. I just don't feel like it focuses on the aspects of this game that are most fun, and it's really fiddly. I mean, this whole game is really fiddly, but for some reason it bothers me here and not elsewhere. But we got that out of the way. This is one of my favorite levels. It also has one of the stars that took me the longest to figure out, which is the 38-second star. Probably not going to get it this run, despite it being a speed run, just because it's pretty challenging and pretty risky attempting it. It can actually be a part of the 100% run that takes a long time. Though I've started to develop a strategy for it. I had no strategy for it for a long time, and we got it. So cool. And this is another of my favorite levels. Most of my favorite levels are on either Carnival or Titan Sky. This one has the 2 quick revert manuals. And then it has this, which is pretty difficult to keep your speed through, but has some neat cheese if you don't quite have enough. If you don't have quite enough speed there. And then there's a kind of the scariest part of the game right here. It's like I always feel on edge, but I'm actually always fairly safe, but you have to react pretty quickly. And so it has that great thrill of being scary, but also safe. Going for speedrun strats, because I believe I got them in the world record. There we go. Did it! Lost time, but I did it. I got a world record again. And I think with better commentary that time. Cool beans. I am going to end it there.